This is LEGO set 76437, the collector's edition of the Weasley's Burrow. The last time we saw this was in 75980, the attack on the Burrow from 2020. There are some similarities, but overall it is a bigger building. So, is it worth buying? Let's find out. It comes with 10 minifigures and some animals, which we'll take a look at shortly, and was also available with some gifts with purchase. A collectible metal Weasley's clock, uniquely available when purchasing this set, as well as a couple of others available with any Harry Potter purchase that we'll look at shortly. Opening up the box, it comes with quite a few bags, all in the new paper arrangement, and sadly, large sticker sheets. There were rumours that these were going to mainly feature printed elements, and while there are some, there are a lot of stickers as well, which is definitely a bad thing for a collector's edition of any set. Now, a quick note, this setup is as per how it looks in the Half-Blood prints, but by simply rearranging these, turning them around the other way, it becomes much truer to the Chamber of Secrets, which is what all the minifigs are based upon. We will start with Molly Weasley, as she definitely has the best printing out of all the characters in this set, on the front of the legs as well as on the arms, something that's lacking in the others. As for the dual facial expression that we get, well, when we remove her hair, it is a little bit ghastly. Quite a scary look, to be sure. I don't particularly like her with that face, so we'll keep it looking nice. But overall, it's a really good looking minifigure. It does, however, show up the others. If we compare her to Arthur here, you'll notice that as per all the others that come with this set, there is no leg printing, no arm printing either, and it really is a letdown, especially considering how fantastical the likes of the Dungeons & Dragons CMF series looks, or indeed any CMF series. Switching over to Arthur Weasley, however, putting aside the lack of arm and leg printing, the torso does look nice, and he comes with this rather impressive hat, which is in a new red-brown colour. The alternate facial expression is not as drastic as Mrs. Weasley's, and if you prefer, you can also give him some hair instead of the hat. Either way, he does look good, but personally, I'm going to keep him with the hat on, especially in the new colour that we now have this in. It looks like a really good piece and sets him off nicely. And then, for the first time, we have a minifigure of Bill Weasley, coming with a rather resplendent ponytail as well, I must say, and the torso printing is also pretty decent too. Now, he does also have two facial expressions. The first is much more Chamber of Secrets, quite happy. The other one comes after has been attacked by Fenrir Greyback, and obviously has become part werewolf. He has the scars down the side of the cheek, and overall they've done that nicely. Considering this is the first time that we've ever had him as a minifig, it's good to get both possible options. Then, as for his brother Charlie, he's the only one that technically comes with an accessory, being the dragon egg, but of course there are plenty that you can give to these different characters. I do like the torso printing on this one, and likewise the dual facial expressions. Neither are too dramatic, and given the easygoing smile and stubbled appearance, he's definitely a good looking minifigure. The torso is also probably the best out of all of them other than Molly's, giving some nice detail on his waistcoat in particular. Then, as for younger brother Percy, he comes decked out in his striped pyjamas, which really do highlight the lack of arm and leg printing, unfortunately. The facial expression is great though. I'm a prefect. Prefect. Prefect, do you hear me? Prefect. Got it? It's that just stern look that's really cool. Alternatively, if you want him to be a bit easier going, the alternative facial expression is pretty decent as well, but I must say, the sterner one suits him better. Fun and cheeky expressions, however, for Fred and George Weasley, who are not quite identical. I mean, sure, the torsos and legs are, but actually we do get different facial expressions for both of the twins, which is a real bonus. If we take off the hair pieces for both of them, you will see that there are some subtle differences between the two, both of which are very good. But, as we're about to find out, there is a certain expression where it looks slightly odd. That is with this, Ron Weasley. It's just a bit of a blank expression, not too bad on that side. But when we switch it around to this one, he really does look quite strange. I think it's that sort of afraid look from when he's seen a spider or something, but I don't particularly like it. I definitely prefer his expression on this side, and let's not forget the cool check shirt. As for Ginny Weasley, she also comes in her dressing gown. It's a really good looking figure, but I do have to highlight that considering Molly was also in a dressing gown, again, why the lack of printing? really irritating. Moving on from that though, she is a nice little minifigure, and if we remove the hairpiece, she also has an alternative expression, just slightly sadder versus happy. So either way, pretty good, not too dramatic on either of them, and I do like the hairpiece too. She, like Ron and Harry, is a small minifigure, so all of these not being able to be placed in a seated position, just bear that in mind. With that said, we come on to Harry, not so much the boy who lived as the boy who keeps on reappearing. We've now had over 80 renditions of Harry in minifigure form, which is a little bit ridiculous. The expressions on here, though, are good. The one which he's covered in soot from having come through the flu network out into Borgin and Burke's, which is the GWP we'll get to shortly, but again, nice facial expression. One thing that I will say is that the scar is very hard to see on this particular minifigure. If I zoom right in, you can just about see it. And that again is a change from ones that we've seen of him in the past, where it just has been that much more apparent. Overall though, decent minifigure, you had to sneak him in somewhere. Then onto the animals, we have Errol the Owl, which is a great addition to get. Sadly, no Hedwig or indeed Scabbers, although there is a picture reference as we will see shortly. We do also get a ladybug down by the front doorstep and a couple of pink porkers in the sty, which are very welcome. And look at them both, they look as happy as pigs in... So, on to the burrow itself, and it is filled with lots of nooks and crannies and exposed studs, which aren't always in the right place. The windows do come with nice stickers, so these are unique to this particular set. They're very colourful and do add a lot to it, but again, they are stickers. Now, there's lots of shapes and textures and interest and great colour usage on the outside, and then we have this cog here, which doesn't look too out of place. The purpose of it being, if we open this up, to actually turn the Weasley's clock on the inside. So this is the one that tells them where each member of the family is and gives the location. So simply by turning that allows you to swizzle it round and round, which is a fairly nice little feature. And then the inside is a little bit cramped, but overall adorned with lots of fun references throughout the movies. So we will of course work our way through each room individually, starting with the kitchen. So, of course, we did have that Weasley clock, as mentioned, and then there are also lots of stickers which feature different Easter eggs from the various films, or even the designers behind this particular set. One thing that I liked was what appears to be Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast, even Chip, although the chip was put on the other cup. We've also got a door which allows ingress in and out for our minifigures through the back way of the burrow into the kitchen, which can be accessed just via here, and again is a nice little play feature that's good to have. Something else that needs to be referenced is this, a mystery piece or a collectible portrait. These are coming throughout all the different sets of Harry Potter this year, may well be something that continues into next as well. It's randomised, which is okay, but technically means that different people will get different ones in their definitive collector's edition of the Burrow, which could be irritating to some. Then in the twins' room, they're already working on concepts for Weasley's Wizard Wheezies, with several things around the room, such as the extendable ears that Ginny got in trouble with Mrs. Weasley for playing with back in the Grimmauld playset. As for Molly and Arthur's bedroom, I do like the weasels on the end of the bed, although once again it is a sticker which you're going to quickly get annoyed with in this set. It's a fun room, and I also like the bay windows that have been put on either side. They're a nice addition. Of course, we've got Errol the Owl just flying on the outside there. Then back inside the room, there's a bunch of fun things relating to Arthur's love of Muggle stuff. The plug socket is a new piece as well that comes with this set, and there is a spare too if you wish to incorporate it anywhere else. In fact, there's quite a few spares left over from this particular build, but the plug socket is a fun new addition. Then in the room above, we have a bed with a duvet adorned with the Gryffindor colours, but once again, you guessed it, it's a sticker. There's also a notable lack of floor space for placing any of the minifigures. Down in the kitchen on the right, we have where the knitting is being done, and then over on the left, the dishes being cleaned. Simply by pressing this in, you can make the dishes do the work for you. There is slightly more studs space available for putting minifigures in position down here, and of course you also have the fireplace, which by turning this allows you to make the minifigure disappear, obviously for the purposes of using the Flu network. Moving on, above that we have the small but reasonably appointed bathroom, albeit the lack of a toilet seat, but we do get a rubber duck. There's another sticker, but at least it is funny, this time showing the family's different toothbrushes in their various assorted cups and mugs. It's a nicely decorated space, but once again very small. Moving up to the attic, we have a scary spider lurking to scare the bejeebers out of Ron, as well as a few things relating to Weasley's Wizard Wheezies. And behind that, we have another bedroom, which can also be accessed from the door on the outside. Now, it should be noted here that there aren't actually enough bedrooms for the whole Weasley family, so there's a little bit of imagination needing to be used in this. Taking a closer look in here, this one has the Chudley cannons on the bedspread or duvet, but yes, it is a sticker. This isn't actually too flimsy, it holds together quite well and is held in place by 6 stud points, so fairly easy to take on and off. Below that we will find another bedroom, this time with a different Quidditch team being supported. Lots of arguments in the sports section there from the Weasley family. Now, this is a good time to highlight the different slopes that are going on in the build, allowing to give it this off-centre rickety look, which is of course perfect for the Burrow. It just makes me all the more annoyed about how they've changed the Nightmare Before Christmas set, because it should also have been much more offset like this. But the way they've done the Burrow at least is at a nice wonky angle, which adds a lot of character to it, so big thumbs up to them for doing that. Then, in the very top of the attic, the roof can be fairly easily removed to see on the inside. I've just put in what the instructions told me to, but there are plenty of accessories left over, which you could also fit in there if you needed to. Once done, that easily sits back on top. So that's it for the Burrow itself, but what about the extras that came with it? And if you haven't got them already, should you be picking them up on the secondary market? The first one was this Draco in the Forbidden Forest, an add-on to a set that we'll take a look at in a minute. Then there was Borgin and Burke's Flu Network featuring Lucius Malfoy, and of course the collector's edition of the Weasley Clock, a metal magnet. We'll start with this one, and it does come in a nice presentation box. It's very much like the Star Wars coins that we've had in the past. Very good and shiny. It comes with a fairly impressively weighted gold-looking base plate, which has Lego and Harry Potter embossed on the bottom. But of course, it's mainly about this, the main clock itself. It's very colourful, and it does turn. It's just a pretty cool looking thing. If we turn it round, on the back is a detachable, slightly reflectable magnetic plate. So effectively you can put this onto the likes of a fridge, or if you get that plate positioned well, it then sits in that base plate, meaning that you can then just pop it on the side, perhaps by the build itself. It looks really good, too good compared to the actual clock print that we get in the set itself. Moving on then to Draco in the Forbidden Forest. This is a very simple little add-on build coming with a spider on the top, a couple of glow-in-the-dark pieces, an owl in the back, and of course Malfoy himself. It's a decent enough minifigure of Malfoy, again just printing on the torso, nothing on the legs or arms, and if we take off the hair you'll see that he does come with two facial expressions, one where he's just very angry and the other a bit bemused. Now this is an add-on effectively to the Forbidden Forest Magical Creatures set 76432 that we had just earlier this year. This is a cool little set coming with several glow-in-the-dark pieces, and this is effectively an add-on to it. It simply clips onto the end, so it does actually connect to that existing build, and of course you can rearrange this pretty much as you want it. Kind of makes sense to have Malfoy in with this. You already have Ron and Hermione, as well as Buckbeak and the Thestral. And then, of course, we have this Borgin and Burke's. Now, I have to say, I'm a little surprised that we didn't get the Ford Angler. This was a separate set that we had released just earlier this year, but I think it should have been the GWP instead. Would have made far more sense to go with the Burrow, considering that all the characters are based around the Chamber of Secrets. Admittedly, this would then have also given us our Hedwig and Scabbers the Rat, albeit with another Ron and Harry, so perhaps that's the argument for why we shouldn't have had it. But overall, I do think that considering how cheap this set was, the Ford Angler would have made a lot more sense to have as the GWP. It's a similar size and just seems to fit more. However, as it is, we have this Borgin and Burke's then. This is mostly just the fireplace. It does come with a bit of shop as well, but hey, it's mainly just about the flu, so you can turn the bit at the top, try and do it one-handed, and that will take your character up and down, just like we saw in the main Weasley's house. And hey, it's a fun enough addition. I like anything with an Archimedes screw in it, but it is pretty much the only draw. The shop itself has a few accessories and nothing else. I mean, true, you can attach it on, but there's not really anything else going to the rest of the build. It's pretty bland. I do wonder if we'll ever get a bigger, proper Borgin and Burke's in the future, in which case this will become rather superfluous, but hey, For a gift with purchase, it's certainly not bad. I just don't particularly think that it was the right one to go with this set. Moving on then to the minifigure, we have Lucius Malfoy, and again, pretty nice torso printing, certainly on the front, good amount of detailing to it. Nothing on the legs again, but then you'd be used to that by now. If we remove his hair, there is also no alternative face expression, which just does seem like a bit of a cop-out Lego. But hey, I guess it's just that displeased, nasty smell under the nose look, which we all come to expect from Lucius Malfoy. It's not a bad minifigure, but it's not particularly great either. It's just okay. It does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity, as does this entire GWP, and sadly, that can sort of sum up quite a few parts of the overall Burrow as well. So there we go. In my opinion, it's not spellbinding, nor is it unforgivable. It's just simply a little bit of a missed opportunity. Overall though, I am pleased to own it. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Do you have it? Do you like it? Or will you be getting it? And thank you very much for watching. Check out one of these two videos next.